Why do so many strong women struggle to let people in when they say they want love? Independence can look like a woman has healed when in reality, she's just put up walls as a protection mechanism. Independence becomes your armor. You learn to be independent because you had to, not because you wanted to. You built walls around yourself and called them standards and boundaries, when in reality, you're just afraid of letting people in because the little girl inside of you is just afraid of being hurt again. Welcome back to my series called Daddy Issues, where we're going to explore the father wound, inner child healing, and feminine embodiment. This isn't about blaming anyone. This is about understanding the pattern and understanding your emotional blueprint so that you stop repeating the same stories in different people. Society glorifies feminine independence. We're taught that being a strong, independent woman is a good thing, when in reality, independence in a woman is actually a trauma response because we had nobody to rely on growing up. We grew up needing to protect ourselves because we were not protected. We grew up having to provide for ourselves because nobody provided for us. And being a strong, independent woman in this modern day is actually a very masculine trait because feminine energy is all about receiving, and masculine energy is all about provision, protection, providing. And what's actually happening is we have been pushed into our masculine energy because we didn't have a masculine figure providing this stuff for us. Then we had to learn to provide it for ourselves. It's actually a self-protection mechanism. I mean, think about it. Being independent all the time and having no one to rely on is so exhausting. I did it for so many years and I was wondering, why am I so burnt out all the time? I struggled to ask for help. I felt so embarrassed asking for help for anything because all I wanted to do was rely on myself. On the outside, you look strong and capable, but on the inside, you're physically, mentally, and emotionally so exhausted, and it feels so heavy holding everything all together by yourself. And I completely understand this because this is something I struggle with. So, where does hyper independence come from? Hyper independence comes from your childhood when the masculine figures in your life were inconsistent and unreliable. When you asked for something, you were just constantly disappointed because they didn't come through for you, or they would delay you and ignore you. And then you just eventually learned that I just have to rely on myself. I just have to do everything by myself because nobody is reliable. I can't trust anyone to take care of whatever you're asking for. And over time, you just stop expecting things from people because you just don't want to get disappointed. And then you create this identity that I don't need anyone. And it sucks because then it's like anytime people come into your life and they actually want to help you, you reject it because you're like, oh, it's fine. I don't need you. I don't need you. But inside, you're actually yearning for their help. You're yearning for somebody to help you you do, because you do want that help, but you're just afraid of disappointment. Independence is not empowering, it's a form of survival. And that survival mechanism that you used as a child to keep you protected doesn't serve you as an adult because it actually stops you from connecting with people. It keeps you closed off from real connections. So, what does hyper independence look like as an adult? You struggle to ask for help. Even when you're overwhelmed, you still say things like, I've got this, I can do it by myself, I can handle it. When people try to help you, you feel like you owe them something and you reject the help. You feel uncomfortable that they want to help you. When a man comes into your life and wants to lead you or take charge, it triggers irritation or suspicion because the masculine figure in your life failed in this aspect, and you feel like you're being controlled when in reality you're just in your masculine energy. Being a very controlling person as an adult is also another indicator of this, as it shows that as a child you didn't have any control of any of the decisions you made or the things you did. So then you start trying to control whatever you possibly can as an adult, and you say, things like, this is how I like to do things. But in reality, what it is that you struggle to let go, you struggle to receive. You're in your masculine energy. Again, masculine energy is all about control. When you meet a secure, consistent man, you feel bored by it because there's no chaos and you're seeking the chaos. So instead, you go for emotionally unavailable men who, again, repeat the same pattern that you were used to as a child. And it's not that you can't find the right man, it's that your nervous system doesn't understand how to recognize safety. All it understands is chaos and disappointment. You crave connection, but you're afraid that if you let your walls down, you're going to be hurt because it makes you vulnerable. It makes you open to whoever, you're about to give this softness to, and you're scared of them taking advantage of you or disappointing you. So it's easier for you to keep these walls up because then you don't have to risk vulnerability. You don't have to risk being hurt. And this all comes back to the abandonment wound, that you're afraid of letting somebody in because you're afraid that they're going to leave. And I suffered with this my whole life. I had crazy abandonment wounds because anytime I let somebody in, I was just anticipating, like, when is this person going to leave? And it sucks. It's like I'm never enjoying the moment. I'm just waiting for them to fuck up and leave. I'm just waiting for them to hurt me. And then you keep telling yourself that you don't need anyone because needing somebody feels like weakness, and all you've known your whole life is to be strong, is to hold strength. And weakness is something that is icky to you. You don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to be weak because weakness equals pain. But this is the thing, that being open and being vulnerable is actually your strength. Allowing people into your life to show up for you is the best thing you could possibly do for yourself because you don't need to hold everything on your own. You don't need to carry all this weight by yourself anymore. You use independence to shut people out, but what it's actually doing now is stopping you from creating real loving connections in your life, because love requires vulnerability, and being open doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you emotionally mature. Real strength is knowing when you can be soft and when you can be independent. And this is the beautiful thing about feminine energy, is you can hold both of these things at the same time. In the next episode, we're going to talk about why calm, secure men feel boring when you're always seeking chaos and excitement, which is actually anxiety. So stay tuned for the next episode.